Hey everyone, let's dive right into today's explainer. We're going to tackle a surprisingly crucial aspect of everyday business that honestly almost always flies under the radar. I'm talking about office stationery management. When we think about massive organizational budgets, we usually fixate on the big ticket items, right? The real estate, the payroll, those massive enterprise software contracts. But today, we're going to shine a spotlight on the hidden financial leaks happening literally right on top of our desks. So here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. We're going to look at the essentials, managing the stakes, selecting quality, stock control systems, purchasing principles, and finally wrap up with smart procedures. Let's get into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the Office Stationery Essentials.
So let me ask you something. Are these everyday items silently draining your organizational budget? I mean, we've all heard the myth of the totally paperless office, right? And sure, the COVID-19 lockdowns definitely accelerated things, shifting a ton of our administrative work online. But despite this virtual reality we're living in now, physical tools are incredibly resilient. We haven't actually abandoned the physical desk. Those basic utilities we need for everyday writing and admin tasks, they are absolutely still essential. And if they aren't properly managed, they present a massive, hidden financial leak. Okay, a really crucial distinction we need to make right out of the gate is what we actually mean by stationery versus broader office supplies. Basically, office supplies is an umbrella term. It covers the high-cost, big-budget items you need to keep a smooth operation running. Think computers, the furniture, those massive photocopiers. Stationery, on the other hand, makes up the low-budget, day-to-day administrative tools. So, office supplies include stationery, but stationery absolutely does not include the heavy machinery. Just picture a typical office desk for a second. You've got your scissors, markers, stamp pads, maybe some paper clips and rubber bands scattered around. These are the items that occupy the prime real estate on our tables. Now, individually, they might cost next to nothing, but cumulatively, when you multiply that across hundreds or even thousands of employees, they represent a seriously significant operational asset. Think about it. Every single department in an organization relies on these items to conduct their daily business. We're talking about paper, like your letterheads and notepads for correspondence. You've got your writing tools, pens, markers, printer cartridges. Then there's the organization side, files, folders, presentation holders, which are essential for long-term record management. And of course, the whole shebang of desk accessories, diaries, calendars, calculators, staplers, paper clips. Keeping this diverse list of everyday items optimized and perfectly stocked is basically a core, non-negotiable function for any office manager. Moving on to Section 2, why managing stationery matters. So, why does keeping tabs on all these little things matter so much? Well, simply put, poor management leads straight to budget bleeding. If an office manager isn't vigilant, you are guaranteed to face losses through leakages, spoilage from things like moisture, and just plain old theft or pilferage. Proper management, though, changes the game. It cuts unnecessary costs by stopping wastage and reusing materials. It ensures you always have that crucial buffer stock so your team's work is never delayed. And here's a big one. It actually enhances corporate goodwill. Think about it. Having your staff use high-quality, impressive, branded stationery genuinely boosts the public image of the organization. It's a real win-win. Which brings us to Section 3, selecting quality office stationery. Selecting the right items is kind of a delicate balancing act. You can't just go out and buy the absolute cheapest stuff on the market. You really have to weigh cost-effectiveness against utility. Is this item actually appropriate for the specific work being done? Then you have to look at durability. This is huge. You literally cannot compromise on durability just to save a few pennies, especially when you're dealing with long-term organizational records. You need good paper and sturdy folders that won't just disintegrate over the years. And finally, quality. Like we just mentioned, branded items often end up being more economical over the long haul, and they do wonders for enhancing your corporate image. All right, Section 4, effective stock control systems. Having a well-defined dealing system in place is a total game changer for employee behavior. When you implement a proper system, it actively educates your team on how to use items optimally. More importantly, it strongly discourages that incredibly common habit of using office stationery for personal stuff. You know exactly what I mean. It stops the memo pads, the good pens, and the staplers from magically walking out the door to someone's home office. Plus, keeping things systematic saves valuable space and prevents your inventory from getting ruined before it's even used. So, how does this actually look in practice? Here is the systematic journey of an internal request. It kicks off when a department sends in a requisition, usually via an indent form or book that's countersigned by the department head. Next, the store officer takes a look and analyzes the requirement. Then, finally, the storekeeper issues the stationery, and here is the absolute most critical part. They immediately update the stock register. Doing this ensures your balance is always perfectly accurate, so you never accidentally run out of the essentials.
Once those items are actually sitting in the storeroom, the storekeeper has to stick to 4 golden rules of storage. First up, careful handling, meaning protecting everything from heat and moisture. Second is good housekeeping. That means having proper, clear signage on every single drawer and cupboard so things can be found instantly. Third is the principle of requisition and use. This simply means items are strictly only issued when there's a proper request, which totally cuts down on misuse. And fourth, you need an effective stock control system where you're regularly reviewing stocks and clearing out anything old or obsolete.
Let's transition into Section 5, the 6 purchasing principles. These are known as the 6 rights, and they act as a super strict compass for any office manager. First, right quantity, avoiding overstocking so you don't tie up capital, but never understocking either. Second, right quality, getting these suitable specifications for the job. Third, right time, meaning you're buying exactly at the calculated reorder level. Fourth is right price, achieved through competitive bidding. Fifth, right source, because you absolutely need a reliable supplier. And finally, right place, reducing your transportation and handling costs by sourcing intelligently.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 6, Smart Purchasing Procedures. Large organizations generally rely on centralized purchasing to save both money and time, and they typically execute this through 3 main methods. The first is inviting tenders, usually for bulk buying, which guarantees a totally fair and objective evaluation of bids. The second is asking for quotations from specific suppliers, basically sending enquiry letters and comparing their bids side by side. The third method is buying directly from manufacturers. And guys, this is where the need for standardization becomes so absolutely important. When an office standardizes on specific branded items, they can place massive bulk orders directly with the maker, which unlocks some seriously huge trade discounts. Now, zooming in on that tendering process for a second, e-tendering has become an absolute must-have. By taking the whole process digital, it just massively increases efficiency. It automatically rejects non-compliant suppliers, makes clarifying things so much faster, lowers your overall costs, and perhaps best of all, it guarantees complete procedural transparency. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought about your own workspace. Are you treating everyday stationery as an overlooked, annoying expense? Or are you managing it systematically as a vital operational asset? Because while these everyday items might seem really small, utilizing proven stock controls and smart purchasing principles to manage them is a massive, massive win for any organization. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and I really hope this gave you a fresh perspective on the true value of those tools sitting right there on your desk. Catch you next time.